Thanks. Okay, so let's look at the social distancing climate for the day. Okay, here we go. Okay, so a German cafe reopens and uses hats with pool noodles attached. Now, I want to point out, as a non-medical expert in something, marketing, that these are not 12 feet long. Ideally, they should be 6 feet in all directions. Now, you could say, well, if this one is 3 feet, if this one over here is 3 feet, and this one is 3 feet, it could work because the net distance would be 6 feet. And that is possibly true, but look at the real world. Sometimes it's hard to say these things with a straight face. This guy's hat has allowed the noodles to go perpendicular with his view. This lady's hat is going toward him, which means that it theoretically could be a net 3 feet. Death reigns in the German cafe. No, I'm just making that up. Okay, so let's look for some other interesting and how was this idea? A German cafe. Oh my God, this is amazing. Applaud this for multiple reasons. Great PR. Makes sense from a disease point of view. Shames people who insist they need to sit. Yeah, makes them look like idiots. Okay, the world has turned into one big circus, and we're the clowns. I'd rather walk around naked with my out-of-shape dad bod so nobody comes close to me. Another one joked, I would ruin it for everyone by pretending to be a helicopter. Okay, here's an Amsterdam cafe that takes people who are out in the open air, excuse me, which is one of the safest things you can do, and puts them in cages, glass cages, and how are you going to disinfect that? Fumigate it? Not that there's any downside to breathing chlorine gas or whatever you're disinfecting it with. So here's an Ohio cafe, and you got to be a little careful because these are obviously telephoto shots, and telephoto does tend to collapse. There was a really interesting Twitter thread on this. Telephoto does tend to collapse this. Oh, before we get to there, I got to show you another one, another idea that I think has incredible merit. This is a Maryland cafe that using these portable tables. This, I think, is much more likely to work in the sense of keeping the maximum distance. You just can't get closer than 6 feet because it's 3 feet out from you in all directions. See, this is American engineering, and we do seem to have quite a few good ideas that are good for the next 2 weeks. Here's a beach at Oceanfront. Again, this is a telephoto shot, so it's not probably these people are way more than 3 feet apart. I can safely say that most people are, and it's sunny, and which is what they did in the 1918 flu, is they kept them out in the sun and the fresh air, so that's probably okay. This is a Manhattan bar, and they're obviously violating the rules and should be arrested. If we all obey the rules, we have no counterexamples. Whereas the states like Florida, Georgia, Colorado, which is a blue state, South Dakota opening up, and now Wisconsin, since the Supreme Court overruled the rules, and some counties are continuing to impose them in violation of the Supreme Court and Wisconsin law. But, who knows what will happen to that. So now we get to see. We've seen Georgia and Florida open for 2 weeks, South Dakota open all the way through, and nothing is increased. The cases aren't increasing, the deaths aren't increasing. South Dakota is a little hard to measure because it's so sparsely populated. What this gives us is at least contrary observations. So when you're observing something, when you're observing death and destruction from a pandemic, you say, well, let's try something. So we tried social distancing, and that's valuable. What do we do next? What we do next is we try something else when the consequences of that first decision are way beyond our nightmares. When could be 40 million people are out of work this week. We'll find out. So we need to find a counter example. We need to try a counter medication. Maybe it's hydrochloroquine. Maybe it's just let it fly. Since we were trying to keep the hospitals empty, the hospitals have been empty the entire time. And this is what you have to do in marketing. You have to do the same kind of thing. You have to decide that we're going to try something different. So, one of the advantages of transparent modeling, which would be like a regression, is you can try different variables. You can even try them within the same basic mailing. You can see what happens. You can compare. That's the kind of thing that makes you money. The observation and hypothesis leads to a test where we try alternatives. I watched a lengthy USPS webinar yesterday, and it seemed as though everyone was saying, first test in digital, then go to mail. The problem in digital is attribution. We can put up two different ads, but we can't tell which one did what. We can't actually track to the order, not well. We can track clicks, but as anyone in lead generation knows, getting lots of leads doesn't mean lots of sales. And sometimes the ads that get very few leads, but almost all of them convert, are far better, and they save you a lot of time and trouble qualifying all those tire kickers and high school kids. So, I applaud the people who are challenging the stay-at-home 2006 high school science fair project and understand that experts don't have the only opinions, and it's hard to run a country with experts. You have to have leaders. There are risks. There are risks of social distancing as well. And there are risks to not trying new stuff in your marketing. So give me a call. We'll set up a test. We'll get an ROI, and we'll see what's happening. I'm John Miglautsch. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will think you're smart. Bye-bye.